I'm Father Robert Balacer, the digital Jesuit, host of This Week in Enterprise Tech on the TWIT TV network. I'm in Orlando, Florida for Enterprise Connect 2016, and I'm sitting next to Mr. Clark Peterson, the president of Enterprise at Vonage Business. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, some folk sitting at home may be a little surprised to have Vonage here on the show floor at Enterprise Connect 2016. What are you doing here?
It's, this is where we belong. It's, most people look at Vonage from their heritage on the residential side. Clearly a pioneer for customers in voice over IP and hosted communications in general, as they fought all those early battles to really create voice over IP and hosted communications as it is today. Now that's been extended to the business side, and really over the last few years we've gone from a company that most would only see as a residential company to the #2 provider by Frost & Sullivan's last report, at least the most recent report, #2 in the industry as far as cloud communications focused on the business side, providing those vital communications to businesses throughout the country and globally.
Now, an interesting bit of trivia for the people who may be following is that Vonage, well, you were doing as a service telephony before it was known as a service. Yeah.
As when the cloud was not, associated with communications anyway, Vonage was out there, and really from those early residential roots created the mechanism for us all to be here today, to be able to provide communications as a service and be able to provide voice quality for whether it be residential or business. And here at the Enterprise Show, very large enterprises. We at Vonage now, we have one of the largest networks in the country providing MPLS delivery of very high quality, very secure communications as a service to businesses throughout the country. And so it's gone from those residential roots to some of the largest enterprises in the country that have the most voice criticality and security needs, all provided by Vonage Business.
Let's talk a little bit about that lineage. Has it been difficult at all for Vonage to grow into that #2 spot that you described, to really take on the position as an enterprise leader, coming from the commercial roots? Because there is a transition. Yeah, sorry, the residential route. There is a little bit of a transition there, and there is a little bit of well, I don't know, people wondering if you are supposed to be playing in business.
No, it's, I'd rather take the card we have right now with having incredible brand recognition. When you look at the brand recognition Vonage has in general compared to our competitors, it's night and day, just tremendous brand recognition. And now helping customers make that translation from a brand associated with voice over IP on the residential side, extending it to the business side, I think is much easier than taking a brand that had no brand recognition and trying to create it from scratch on the business side. So and especially like you mentioned, the early roots that we have, I think people see us as, okay, you've been doing this for over 10 years and successfully on the residential side. Now you've not only organically transformed to the business side, but also through acquisition acquired some of the leading best-of-class companies that have 10, 15, 16 years of experience doing this right on the business side. Hold that all together under this Vonage umbrella. It's a tough equation, I think, competitively for others to match.
Let's talk about that umbrella, because in that umbrella, you'll find customers who, well, are trying to figure out their deployments right now, especially looking at all the changes in the industry over the past 18 months, the movement into hybrid cloud, the idea that it doesn't have to be on-premise, the idea that every service should be as a service running off your cloud provider of choice. What do you find to be the questions that people forget to ask? I mean, we here at the show, we all know the questions that people are asking, but what are the ones that often don't get said, that don't make it out in the public, and then end up causing trouble for that deployment?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because there's some big pieces that customers forget to ask that become critical. I'd say just at a high level, I'll start first. Vonage, our main task as a service provider is make it easy for the customer, create a customer experience where we take on most of the burden to really just make this simple. Whether you're a small customer on our Essentials platform and it's all through a portal and you're turned up in 3 or 4 days and you're up and going, it's a very simplified product set and a very simplified process. Larger customers, we have a proprietary platform named Zeus that enables us to be able to put customers on in a way that manages the whole project management experience, as well as gives them a portal at any time off of their PC or iPad or iPhone. They can actually go in and see what's the status of my new install, what's the status of any trouble tickets, what's the status of my my different milestone dates or my moves, adds, and changes. It's all really at the touch of a button on any of their end devices. So the questions, so we provide this experience to handle that. Most customers really look at just a feature set and look at, okay, these guys have the features I want and have the price I want. And they forget to ask about all the things that are behind the curtain, such as, what's your network look like and how am I going to get this service delivered? Is there QoS? How far are you backhauling to the closest or furthest POP there to provide my services? Is there going to be latency issues? How are you actually provisioning my services? Do you have a platform like Zeus that actually automates the provisioning process to make sure all the complexity of moving over my voice and my data and what was hardware with my PBX and taking to the cloud is all provisioned in a way that's a very smooth deployment, and I don't have my end user screaming at me because the cutover was terrible, right? Those are things that took years and years and millions of dollars for Vonage to create platforms and services and process, and a very experienced team to do right, that most do not ask the questions they need to about those services.
We've been speaking with Clark Peterson. He is the president of enterprise at Vonage Business. Clark, thank you very much for spending time with us, for explaining what Vonage's vision for the enterprise is.
Thank you. Great to be here and be able to share our story.
Now, if they wanted to find out more about Vonage, what Vonage can do for their business, for their enterprise, where can they go?
Just go to Vonage.com. Tells you everything from our Essentials platform to our Premier platform. Whether you're a small business, a very large enterprise, you'll see all the products and services there and all the delivery mechanisms we provide to enable an extremely positive customer experience.
Enjoy the rest of the show. I'm Father Robert Ballester, the Digital Jesuit, and we'll be back with more from Enterprise Connect 2016.